Hello once again, NASCAR fans. Welcome back to another episode of the NASCAR Show here on The Grueling Truth. I'm Alex Gray, along here with Michael Klein, and we have a special guest in here with us today. We have NASCAR Xfinity Series driver Vinnie Miller joining us. Vinnie, thanks for coming on.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome. So while you're on here, tell us about yourself and how you got into racing.
I started racing when I was 4.5 years old, or that's when I got my first quarter midget race car, whatever you want to call it. And I wasn't allowed to actually race till I was 5 on the real track, so we had a circular driveway, so I drove it around there for practice. And, I just came up through the ranks of that and, decided I wanted to try to pursue a career in NASCAR as a driver. So when I was 12, I started racing full-size stock cars. And then I went from pure stock to street stock to late models for 2 years in Michigan. And then right when I graduated high school, I moved down south and, decided to chase my dream. And I came up through, late models down here to K&N, to ARCA, to doing a truck race to get approved to run Xfinity in 2018. And I'm heading into my third full-time season in the Xfinity Series. And I'm super excited to get rolling with the season.
Yep, and you will be back in the 78 for BJ McLeod, correct?
Yep, I will be back in the 78 full-time this year.
All righty. Last season, 23rd in points. Can you tell us about summing up 2019 and how that season went, and what are you looking forward to coming into the 2020 season?
Last year was a very big step, I believe, in the right direction for my career. I struggled a lot my rookie season in 2018, and moving over to BJ's team and running the full year over there, I learned a lot last year, and it was a big year for me. We missed top 20 in points, which was a goal of mine last year, by only a few positions. We got in a point in the middle of the summer stretch last year where, we just couldn't get one of our cars figured out, so we switched cars, got back on a really good run streak, and, everything was just a really solid year in my mind last year. And I'm looking forward to getting going with 2020 and, working with the same team. This will be the first time since I moved to North Carolina that I'll be with the same team for more than one season. So I'm really excited to get that rolling and, see how we can do with, a really built-up, well-bonded team.
All right. What has motivated you, or who's inspired you to be where you are now?
I would say one of my biggest influences is my grandmother and my grandfather. They got me into racing. I'm a first-generation racer, and, they're the ones who got me into it and got me moved down here and, gave me the opportunity. And now I've, been getting sponsors and, trying to make a living in Xfinity Series and staying where I'm at and, trying to move up the ranks all the way to Cup. And I think, just whenever I was younger and I first got my first win, it lit a fire in my heart that I just wanted to race and do it for a living. And I can't thank my family enough and, the sponsors I've had through the years. I'm excited that UAP, it's United American Patriots, is coming on board to sponsor us for Daytona. And I'm excited about our partnership with them. And I'm really excited to see what it brings.
Yeah, I like to hear about the first-generation racers, just because I'm also a first-gen racer. And a lot of people, think that to get into the sport, you have to have, those connections from the get-go. And, not everyone has that. So when you see people like that who are just kind of making their own way into it, that's just really awesome to hear.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I mean, it definitely helps having connections to get into it. But, not having connections, it makes it a little bit harder. But in my mind, you have to work hard for whatever you want it is, or whatever it is that you want at the end of the day. And, mine is to stay in the Xfinity Series, racing and being able to make a living doing what I love. So it just is that much more motivating to work that much harder every day and, keep trying to find sponsors to stay where I'm at.
Yeah, that's kind of been the same way with me. Like I said, I didn't have those. So what I did was I went to school at UNOH. I got my degree in marketing just to kind of help with the communication side of it, and also joined the race club there, which got me involved in ARCA. I started out working with Prater and Peterson, and now I'm working with Eric Cadell. And if everything goes right, I'll be behind the wheel of that car at Indy. And, doing this also got me in touch with the people who put me in the midget ride that I'm driving for now. And actually later in the podcast, I'll have a big announcement to make regarding that. But, it's definitely doable, even if you don't have, the connections or the funding from your family.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, man. I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah, I think it's...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, I was just saying, I think that's really good I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think that's very important. It's not all about just, having those big connections. I still think anyone, if they want to race, they can get in. They can do it. And I'm certainly glad to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, you just kind of got to work harder for it. But honestly, I think the guys who work harder for it usually end up being more successful.
Oh, definitely.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing that with Ross Chastain and Ryan Preece right now.
Yeah. Yeah, those are definitely, I think, a couple good current examples.
Yeah, for sure. It's just all the hard work that goes into it. Everyone thinks that, you're in NASCAR, so you just, hop in the car, race, and turn left. There's much more to it than that. It's getting your sponsors, keeping them happy, working on deals to keep it going, working out during the week and staying in shape, building good business relationships with your team owner and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, too. That's an interesting question, because even, I was at work last night talking about NASCAR to someone. Like, I've always had people ask, what's the main purpose of it, and, how it's like I could never get into it. How would you convince someone to at least watch a race or sit down and give NASCAR a shot?
My take on it is if you don't really know what you're looking for or you're not interested in it, it is hard to get into it on TV if you're not into it and you don't know what you're looking for. I'll admit that. But if you go to an actual race in person and you even just stand next to one of the cars when it starts, or you're sitting, in the grandstands when a whole pack of them comes by, your brain is going to be rattled. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I would just tell someone, okay, you don't like it or you don't think you'll like it, just go to a race and watch it. And, not even just the racing, but just the environment and the atmosphere of, everyone having fun, everyone having a good time. You never see someone mad at a NASCAR race unless, their favorite driver gets wrecked. But that's, that's in the race. That's not leading up to it.
Yeah, I think you summed that up pretty well. I definitely agree that, go to a race, because I think you'll experience, and all of us can really vouch for this, that you go to a race and it's just a whole different experience. You can see everything on the track more than you can see on TV as well, and you can follow along.
It's like their commercial says. You haven't experienced NASCAR until you've been to a NASCAR race. I mean, it's as straightforward as it gets,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I completely agree with it.
Actually, I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast. I think I may have spoken with it about you, Alex. But actually, something that happened, back in high school for me, and this is really funny too. I was in a class with this teacher who someone brought up NASCAR, and he talked about how much he hated it and how, there was no athletic ability involved and how it was the most boring thing in the world. And so I just kind of said, well, if you're not into it and if you've never looked at it and seen what really goes on, how can you make that judgment?
Right.
Yeah, and he's like, because I've seen it and that's all it is. No, you've seen it on TV and you weren't even really paying attention. So
I agree, and
you're not really
argue with people. If someone tells me that there's no athletic ability in NASCAR, I say, okay, well, let's put it like this. We might not be running back and forth all the time, but in NFL, you're running a lot, but you get breaks. In soccer, you're running a lot, but coach puts in our player, you get a break. NASCAR, I guess you get a break under caution, but you're still in 160 degrees in a player suit. When you are, at speed under green flag, you're wide open, you're going 180, your body's enduring 3 to 5 G's of force, and, it's all mental too. So there is a lot of, physical activity that goes into it. I think that, we are some of the best athletes out there because of what we have to endure when we're in the car.
Well, certainly. Even in the midget, where my races are only about 20-something laps. I'm in the car usually about 30 minutes at a time. When I get out, my arms are sore as hell. Like, I can barely lift anything afterwards. I'm drenched in sweat. And you're going to tell me that's not athletic ability, the fact that I'm able to do that?
Well,
and for you, doing it like 2 hours at a time.
Yeah. So I think it was Chicago. No, it was Charlotte this past year. It rained, and it was really muggy when we had to get in the car to race, and it was like 95 degrees out, and I want to say it was 155 in the car. I went home this past off season, and one of my buddies has a sauna at his house. And he told me that I wasn't a real athlete. So I said, okay, we're going to simulate something. I said, you go put on a long-sleeve shirt, some jeans, and some shoes. So he went and did that, and he comes back, and I said, okay, you're going to crawl in the sauna, and we're going to crank it up to 155 degrees, and you're going to sit in there for at least an hour. And in 10 minutes, he came out sweating, and he was like, man, I don't know how you do it. And I said, okay, exactly. Now try doing that while you're driving, doing 180. So I changed his mind real quick because he made me mad, and he always has had that argument with me for, the past few years. And he finally bought a sauna, so I was able to actually show him what it's like.
Yeah, and actually a funny story just to go along with what I was saying earlier. About a year later, I was working at a kart track near where I live, and some of those kids actually came in because one of them was getting married, and that's where they were doing their bachelor party. So they did a few races, then they came up to me and they're like, hey, you remember that day, when we said you weren't an athlete for doing this and there's no ability involved? We take it all back because we are whooped after that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That was a really good discussion because I think that's very important that people need to understand. It's like it's not about making a left turn. There's so much that goes into it. And, yeah, I remember, you said about how hot in the car was. I remember, I think it was 2018 in Chicagoland where it exceeded 150 in the car. And I was just like, how are they doing this without passing out? This is incredible. So I'm really glad you brought that up.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I know some people are going to say, well, yeah, you're racing fans, you're in racing. Yeah, you're going to say that. Thing is, yeah, we're in racing, so we would know this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When someone tells, like, when I'm out in public, if I ever overhear a conversation of someone talking about NASCAR and how we're not real athletes, I normally play along with it, and I'm just like, yeah, no, those guys suck. Like, I think it's just funny to hear how much crap people have to talk about us sometimes if they're a big NFL fan or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people got nothing better to do.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So, let's see. We do also have quite a handful of news that really got thrown out in really the last, 24, 48 hours. Let's see here. Jeff Hammond, if you hear about this, he's going to be the crew chief for Clay Greenfield. Plan to run 8 races starting at Daytona. So that's a huge deal right there for Greenfield.
Yeah.
Let's see here. WWE wrestler Sheamus is going to be the honorary pace car driver for the Daytona 500. I like that. Okay, here's the big one that I think a lot of us have been waiting on confirmation on. It has been confirmed. Daniel Suarez will officially be driving for the Gott brothers full-time in 2020. CommScope and Coca-Cola will continue their partnerships with Suarez. They have elected to not run in the Clash on February 9th because they want to focus on preparation for the Daytona 500. Let's see here. Kyle Busch will officially launch his new reduced sugar energy drink called Rowdy Energy. It will have 4 flavors and will be sold online only to start. Might have to try Rowdy Energy just to see what it's like.
Yeah, I kind of hope that he brings back like that flavor he had when he had that NOS.
Yeah.
Because I thought NOS Rowdy was really good.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I would say that the Rowdy's probably going to be pretty close to NOS, if I had to guess, just because they sponsor them.
Yeah. Because he left NOS, and then last year he kind of was more with Monster Energy, and now he has his own brand, Rowdy Energy.
Yeah, but they're all owned by the same company, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one, especially for Vinnie being an Xfinity driver. Let's see, Jim Utter and Matt Weaver. NASCAR is expecting 37 full-time teams in the Xfinity Series this season. And, of course, this season they shortened the field down to 36 cars. I want your thoughts on that, Vinny. What are your thoughts on NASCAR shortening the Xfinity field now to 36 cars?
It kind of sucks for smaller teams like us, just because, if we have something go wrong or, if we're out of points or something for a race or two, if we weren't able to qualify because, something happened to the car, it could hurt us if we miss the race if there's 37 cars there. But at the same time, I think it helps the series overall, rather than having a 38-car field and then only 36 or 37 do show up, because that looks bad on the series for us, that we can't even get a full field.
Yeah, I see what you mean with that. I'm certainly intrigued to see how it'll go. Let's see. So, yeah, they expect 37.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm just being completely real here. I think the team that's going to most struggle with that is going to be Mike Harmon Racing. Just because, they were running full-time last year, and even then they were still struggling to qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a team like BJ McLeod or JD, I don't think that's going to be an issue.
No, it's not an issue.
I certainly hope it's not.
No, it's not an issue. It's more just like, say if for some reason our engine blew up in practice or something, or if it blew up during qualifying and we didn't get to take time, if there's 37 cars there, say if we weren't top 31 in points, it could potentially send a team like us home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 31 will make it on time trials, 4 provisionals, and then the past champion.
Yeah, so that's the only concern I really had whenever they shortened the field was, if we had some type of mechanical failure issue and we just couldn't qualify in for some reason that weekend.
Keeping on the track of more Xfinity news, of course, Indianapolis Motor Speedway is going to use the road course. They will use the 14-turn course. I also want your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts on being able to getting to drive on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course?
Since this is a podcast and I couldn't actually speak my mind this morning on it and say what I wanted to say, I think it sucks. I don't like road course racing, and Indy is one of my favorite races, and I think it evens the playing field because we have that drag duck in the restrictor package there. So it's a race that, you know, a team like us can run with some of the bigger budget teams. So I think that kind of, you know, played a part into why I don't like it, along with me not liking the road course racing. But, I mean, I think it's cool that we get to experience it and get on that track because it's such a big part of history, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the positive way I'm trying to look at it.
Yeah, and, you know, from what I understand, this is the only year they're planning on doing it right now. Like, from what I understand, for 2021, they're still very much up in the air. So who knows? This could be one and done. Or, you know, next year they may run the oval for the Xfinity Series and the Roval for the Cup Series. So it's just one of those things you just never know. You know, I'm looking forward to getting to see it. I mean, most likely I'm going to be there, so that should be interesting to watch.
Yep, I'm looking forward to being there as well in Indy. So yeah, it remains a question.
A lot of fans love the road course racing when we do go to it. So I think it's going to be a really big race, and I think it's really going to boost the, you know, the attention to the race and the fan count. So I think it's something that will stick around for 2021 in my mind.
Yeah, and, you know, also just to throw this out there, you know, the road course, it seems like, is one of those places where the smaller teams can kind of, you know, bridge that gap. So, you know, this could be a good thing.
If you're a good road course driver, which I happen not to be a good road course driver. I mean, I got better significantly from 2018 to 2019. Still didn't light anything on fire. But, you know, I'm getting progressively better at learning how to drive them. Because, you know, I went out to the Bondurant school because I'd never been on a road course before 2018. So I went out there to try to learn a little bit. And, you know, I was only a half second off the instructors out there. But then when I hopped in a stock car, I was like, holy crap, I'm a few seconds off the field. What's going on? So I think it's just something that, you know, you have to get used to.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of car was that? You said you drove at that school?
Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat.
Okay, so, yeah, I think there's a world of difference between that and a stock car, so.
Oh, they are. I figured it'd be easier with an Xfinity car because they're 2,000 pounds lighter than a Challenger.
Oh, yeah, but, you know, the Challenger is usually set up, you know, for the road courses, and, you know, no matter how much you change the setup on the Xfinity cars, at the end of the day, those are cars still kind of built more for the oval racing.
They are, but our road course cars, they're built different than the circle track cars. So, like, your cross members and everything aren't offset. They're all parallel.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that.
So it's a car that's built to go both ways. And then, like, our cambers and stuff, they're, you know, instead of towed in, they're both towed out.
All right, yeah. I've never worked on a car on a road course event, so, yeah, I don't know too much about that.
Yeah.
Well, to me, I prefer to stick to the ovals. It's what I grew up on. It's what I love, and it's what I know best. So.
Yeah, especially talking about the road courses and all these track changes, you know, 2021, you know, it looks like we may see even a more drastic change than what we're going to see this season, because I think this is only the beginning. Chris and I made a couple tweets yesterday. One was that Nashville is still a highly potential market for the 2021 schedule, and that NASCAR is hopeful that in April of this year they will announce the 2021 Cup schedule. So I must ask as well, what are your thoughts on all the schedule changes that they want to make? Or really, you know, we're going to see a lot of change in the coming years. And as a driver in the Xfinity Series, what are your thoughts on the next gen cars, schedule changes, and all that?
So as far as the tracks go, I'd like to see them bring some more short tracks into it, just because I really like the short track racing, and I love Nashville. We're talking about Fairground Speedway, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That track I've raced on in ARCA, and I was running really well until I had an engine problem, and I love that track. You know, it's tight corners, high bank, long straightaways. I think that'd be a really good track for us to go to, and I think it'd draw a big fan count. And then as far as the Cup cars go with the next-gen stuff, I think they look really cool, and I think that it's going to be really good racing. Where I don't like it from where I stand right now is I think they're going to a 20-inch rim, I believe, or 19-inch. So it's different from us. So it's going to hurt, you know, our budget on a smaller team as to where we can't get scuffed tires from the Cup Series and stuff like that.
Mm. Yeah, because
yeah, that's a rough deal, especially for the smaller guys, just because, you know, even going into Nashville, you know, because actually we're talking about running that, so that could likely be my ARCA East debut. And right now my team is looking to get some scuffed tires for that event. So, you know, people don't get into that. That's something a lot of smaller teams rely on. So that could definitely create some issues, you know, within the smaller teams. I never really thought of that, but, you know, you're right. Definitely could.
Yeah, you know, a lot, that goes back to, you know, the budget stuff we were talking about and the first-gen stuff and breaking into it. You know, being a smaller team and trying to find the sponsors, you know, we can put together marketing programs and stuff. It's just we don't hit as big of a market, you know, as the big teams that are able to run up front and get more TV time. So, you know, like us going to the single-car qualifying last year, it helped us out a ton as drivers trying to sell sponsorships because you're guaranteed at least 20 to 30 seconds of TV time every week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why I was so glad to see him go back to the single-car runs.
Oh, same. You know, especially with the disaster that happened at Auto Club last year with qualifying. I just think that single-car qualifying is just better off. And especially for Daytona, you get to see all the different names that get to attempt the stories, and obviously, you know, teams like yours who, you know, hope for that screen time and hopefully can market themselves a little bit and try and get some sponsorship that way.
Yep, it definitely helps out in that way, man.
Mhm. Let's see here. Some new sponsorship news. Kurt Busch revealed his new gear wrench car. Ryan Newman paint scheme with, I think it's Koch as the sponsor. That will be for the Busch class and the Daytona 500. Alex Bowman will have several Chevrolet accessory partners forming a vendor model to sponsor the 88, such as Truck Hero, Adams Polishes, and Noco. So some new paint schemes there for Bowman. I'm trying to catch up on what else. NASCAR says they're going to have – Bob Bocker's tweeted that NASCAR says they will have a meeting with manufacturers, former and potential, now today to discuss a timeline for possible new engine in 2023 and any electrification in 2022 at the earliest, because they've been discussing with the next-gen car coming in 2021, we could have like a new hybrid engine coming a year or two afterwards. Miller Lite will only be a primary sponsor for Brad Keselowski for one race, the Coke 600, and they will serve as an associate sponsor throughout the year, according to Team Penske. So that's interesting. Miller Lite, who has been a long-time sponsor on the two, will only sponsor Keselowski for one race. That's rather interesting. And other driver news, Jeffrey Earnhardt has tweeted out yesterday saying, everyone keeps asking, are you done racing? The answer is no. I'm staying ready and working on site with our group at JEI to put together the sponsorship to go race. You got to have money to get a ride these days. I appreciate everyone's patience and support. And it's a video of him working out as well. Let's see here. The Rolex 24 also took place this past weekend. The overall winner was Wayne Taylor's number 10, driven by, if I could pronounce this right, Komi Kobayashi. The team also had Renger van der Zande, Scott Dixon, and Ryan Briscoe. They also won the DPI class. LMP2 winner was the 81 Dragon Speed Orca car. Dragon Speed's winning team included former Ben Hanley.
Hello?
I believe.
Yep. Hello? You guys are cutting out,
Yeah.
I think. You there?
Yeah.
Oh, cut out.
Alex, I think you cut out for a second there.
Oh, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Alrighty. So this is discussing the LMP2 winner, Dragon Speed's team. GTLM winner was, for the second consecutive year, it was BMW RLL. And then GTD, won by Paul Miller Racing, which was their first ever Rolex 24 win. I just wanted to cover that real fast with the events that took place this past weekend at Daytona. Do you guys watch the Rolex 24 at all?
I did not, personally.
Yeah,
Right.
I missed the first 10 hours of it just because I was in Indianapolis all day for a seat fitting and the Circle Track Expo that was going on up there. But I got back in time for the nighttime racing, which is honestly the best part of the whole race. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd say I got to watch a pretty good chunk of it, especially throughout the night. That was kind of fun to watch.
I just don't get how some people can stay up all night watching.
Oh yeah. I'm always amazed by that, especially for some of the drivers. Of course, Kyle Busch got to run in that as well, driving one of the Lexus cars. So yeah, it's just you go to bed, and I always, in the past even, when I went to bed during that event, I'm just and to think right now they're still racing at Daytona. That's just kind of weird. And you're going to wake up, and they're starting to finish up at Daytona. So let's see here. Going back to Vinnie, what were some of your favorite racing memories in 2019?
I would say the ones that really stand out to me are, finishing 11th at the July Daytona race. I think that was really cool. Being able to get up there and run with those guys. Dover, we had two really fun races at Dover this past year. It's my favorite track. I love going there. It's just, I always love going to Dover just because of how fast it is, how high bank it is. It's a concrete track. It's my favorite track. So that was those were two fun memories. I think we finished pretty well in the second one. I think the second one we were top 20 there. I think we were 17th or something. Michigan's always a fun race for me. It's my home track. I get to bring all my family and friends out, which is really cool. I get to hang out with them in the infield after the race. That's something I enjoy getting to do. Then I also really like the going to Talladega always. That's always a fun experience, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else stands out? The West Coast Swing was pretty fun last year. With BJ's team, we go out there, and for, Vegas, we go out there a few days before, stay in Vegas the whole week, stay after the race in Vegas, and then we go to Phoenix, race there, stay in Scottsdale for the week, and then we go after Phoenix to Auto Club, and we stay there for the week, and, go to Santa Monica Beach, get to go hang out in L.A. and do all that fun stuff. So it's just I've never really been out to the West Coast and got to experience all of it, so that was kind of a cool, opportunity. Not too big of a fan of California as a state, but, Arizona and Vegas are fun.
Alrighty. Yeah, funny enough, I've actually never been out to the West Coast, funny enough. So I'm always intrigued to hear other people's thoughts on it.
Yeah, well, could be changing for me this year though. Maybe going to Phoenix And if everything goes right, hopefully I'll be running some of the West races with ESAC.
Well, that'll be fun. Yeah, it really depends on where you come from, I think. Like, I come from Michigan, small town, grew up around hunting and farming and all that stuff. So, I'm, like, big into guns. I like shooting guns, being out in the country. And I'm sure you guys know LA is nothing like that. So I feel like whenever I'm out there and I'm in, like, my cargo shorts and my Nike Shocks and a T-shirt, I just don't fit in. Like, I feel like I look like the oddball out, whereas if most of those people, came to the East Coast and, was around here, they'd be the oddball out. So, just seeing the different, like, what you see in movies out there, it's like when you get there, that's actually what people dress like and, like, how the lifestyle is, and it's all vegan and stuff. Like, some restaurants that we went to, it's hard to find food that I actually like because I hate vegetables and all that stuff. I'm, like, straight up meat, potatoes, beans, like, so that stuff's kind of funny to see.
Yeah, that's just something I've never, get myself into. I mean, we grew up in Cincinnati, so, that's always kind of been there. But, anywhere down south of it, even if it's just 10 minutes, is just, small town USA, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I kind of grew up around, both of those, There's things about both of them I like. But going to LA would definitely probably be a big culture shock for me.
Yeah, it's different, man.
Yeah, and let's see. Thought I had a question, but I think I lost track of what I wanted to ask. I will ask. I think Michael, you had an announcement, I believe.
Yes, I did. So this is something that came up in the last week, and it looks like we finally gotten the deals worked out. I will be driving for Mel Kenyon's midget team in a limited schedule this season across Indiana. But, he's had drivers like A.J. Foyt, Mario Andretti, Chris Windom driving for him, or Dylan Welch, like I'm sure some of you guys would know from NASCAR. So it's just such a huge honor to get to drive for, someone like him, who's the winningest driver in USAC midget history, and also somebody who finished in the top 5 in the Indy 500. I mean, it's honestly such a huge honor to be able to get behind the wheel of one of his cars.
Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'm thrilled for you, man. That's great news to hear.
Yeah, I'm still kind of reeling from that. It could definitely be, a huge break in my career.
Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty. I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping things up here. Vinnie, is there anyone that you want to thank in general or give a shout-out to?
Yeah, man. Like I was saying before, huge thanks to my family for all they've ever done for me and getting me to where I am today. All the sponsors that have helped me along the way. Really excited about UAP coming on board for Daytona. Looking forward to, our partnership with them and, maybe building on it. And, huge big thanks to Jessica and BJ McLeod, for giving me the opportunities that they have and helping me along the way. And, I really don't think I could ask for a better team owner and the opportunities that they have gave me.
Alrighty, and even you, Michael, do you have anyone you wanna thank or give a shout out to?
First off, I want to thank Swindell Speed Lab and K1 for putting together my new race suit for the 2020 season. If you guys haven't seen it, go over to my Twitter. I've got it posted on there. I really like the way it looks. It's going to be first time really having a professional suit done. So really looking forward to being able to sport that this season. And, of course, I got to thank all my sponsors for, what they're doing for me. Jacob Cagle with NASCAR Low Teams for, putting my whole midget deal together and trying to get me into the stock car side of it.
Alrighty.
Well, enjoy that custom suit, man. You're going to want to sleep in it the first night you get it. They're so comfortable and they're custom to you.
Yeah. I've never had a custom suit done before. The one I wear now is just a $300 Alpine Star suit that was a little too long for me. The bottom of it is actually kind of torn out from me stepping on it. So it's going to be good not, having that anymore.
Yeah. Alrighty. Wrapping things up here. Before we sign off here, I also want to give my thoughts and prayers to the families and friends of everyone that got affected from the helicopter crash back on Sunday out in California that took the lives of Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant, as well as John Altobelli, as well as his wife and son, I believe, as well, and to everyone else that has been affected by this tragic event. Just want to give my thoughts and prayers out there real quick as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that just shows that tomorrow's never guaranteed, so you got to make the most of today.
Yep.
Yeah. I kind of tweeted about it when it all happened. I just said that life is too fragile. Life is short, but it's also too fragile. So be sure that you're able to talk to your loved ones today if you can, and give them a call, give them a hug, just tell them how much they mean to you and that kind of stuff, and go from there.
Absolutely.
All righty. That's going to wrap up this week's edition of the NASCAR Show on The Grueling Truth. I want to thank once again Vinnie Miller and Michael Klein here for coming on and talking about their racing stories. This was a very fun episode. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yep. Thanks for having me
no
on,
problem,
guys.
man.
I appreciate it.
You're all certainly welcome.
You guys have a good day.
You
Thanks,
too.
man. Hopefully I'll see you in Daytona.
Yep. Sounds good, man. You guys have a good day. Thank you.
You too, man.
Yep.
All right, you have a good one.
All righty. That will do it. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next week.